Today on TNT Big Show, is the Xbox on its last legs? All today on TNT Big Show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Michelle Nantucket.
Hey, and this is Sean.
Let's get right to the video, and I got this from Twitter, Captain Bergenson, but apparently Phil Spencer's salary is $10 million a year, and Microsoft's head CEO is over $82 million when you count all the bonuses and stuff. But yet today, Microsoft laid off thousands of people in the Xbox division. Now, there's, according to Stealth on Blues, that Rare's Everwild game has been canceled. The initiative has been shut down, meaning that the Perfect Dark reboot has been canceled.
That is so sad.
Yeah, Bethesda, that was in the works, was also canceled.
And they said several unannounced projects were canceled.
Yeah.
Who knows what those were? Maybe a Banjo-Kazooie game even. Who knows?
The fact is that Xbox said a couple years ago that they would prefer being the top third-party publisher in the world. How are you guys going to do that with just Call of Duty?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
And here's a question for you, Michelle. Maybe you know, I don't. But if Xbox does go out of the gaming business, what will that mean for Nintendo systems and Call of Duty and other Bethesda games?
Well, I mean, they're not going to go, completely under.
I know.
But all it'll mean is that Microsoft's going to be making less games.
But they'll still have Activision and all Blizzard and all them under their priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, they want to be the big third party, but you're not going to do it by making these kind of moves, Microsoft.
No.
Their deal with Crystal Dynamics is running out.
That's right. That's going to end soon.
Yeah.
And forget Nintendo, even though Nintendo should buy Crystal Dynamics, they won't. But who knows who will buy them, or I don't know. Maybe they'll go out, I don't know.
Yeah. It's amazing just how far Xbox has fallen in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Before the Xbox showcase in 2013 with the Xbox One, the Xbox 360 had closed in at almost 86 million systems, so that's a lot of systems. And a lot of hardcore gamers made the 360 their system of choice. The Switch, the Wii was more like for casual gamers with some hardcore games in there. And Sony was overcharging and just messing up at every turn until the last few years when Sony righted the ship. Before then, Microsoft was the choice for hardcore gamers. They had the better playing versions, they had exclusives, and the Xbox was just on the high note. But then, by 2013, the Xbox One was announced, and holy crap, did that just turn into a gutter. Unlike the Wii U, which Nintendo recovered from pretty fast, with Xbox, the Xbox One at least sold 55 million units, which is really not that bad. It was just down from the 360. But now the Xbox Series X and S, which are objectively better than the Xbox One, but still they're barely across the 30 million mark, and they'll be lucky to hit 40 million. So Xbox keeps losing ground to Sony and
Nintendo, yeah.
I don't think Microsoft or anybody saw this comeback for Nintendo.
No.
I did, because I knew that...
Michelle did.
Yeah.
The industry and media and stuff, well, the Wii U, after this little experiment that they're doing, they're going to be third parties. Dun! Yeah.
The Switch 1, it's on its way to being the best-selling console of all time.
Because guess what, folks? I'm a little surprised at this. They are still, the momentum's not stopped. They're pumping out Switch 1 games like every other week.
Yeah.
I want to see more Switch 2 titles, Nintendo.
We will. Yeah. The thing is, the Switch 1 is still selling.
Yeah.
And now the Switch 2 is breaking all sorts of records. Yeah. So Nintendo is not going to be losing ground anytime soon. And the PlayStation 5 is over 70 million already, and it'll end up with around 102 to 105 million units. The Switch 2 will finish with around 40 million units.
It's kind of sad, actually. With their new system, the Xbox Series X, And some of their game announcement, I was really getting excited about the Xbox.
I was too. Perfect Dark game. Elder Scrolls 6.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, man, the Xbox is starting to hit grand slams again. Yeah, Forza Horizon.
Horizon, yeah.
And also Halo Infinite wasn't nearly as bad as what I thought it would be.
Simulator.
Yeah, Xbox was starting to turn it around.
And now this.
Yeah, but their obsession with streaming costed them bad.
Oh, and the Blizzard and Activision deal.
Yeah, $70 billion for a company with basically one game.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, these layoffs come as a huge disappointment and shock. And I was really looking forward to Perfect Dark and Everwild.
That was so heartbreaking. Well, if anything, the Nintendo Switch is getting a new one. Probably the Sony and all them too, but at least Nintendo's getting the new James Bond game, so that'll probably ease the pain a little.
It's just Microsoft does not know what to do. They thought streaming would be the future of gaming, and it's not.
Just like everyone thought streaming would replace physical media for movies.
It hasn't.
It does not happen.
No. It's just with video games, it's even harder because of the budgets of these games. And they don't have, see, you guys gotta understand something. Netflix distributes all of their shows. The same with HBO Max and them. With video games, there's third-party publishers. And third-party publishers are not going to be like, well, Microsoft, you can have our game and have all the profits to it. No, that's not going to happen. So you're just going to have to deal with it that video games are going to be buying individually digital or buying it physically.
And speaking of which, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I want us to do another video soon, folks. The key card. Will it scare away third parties from Nintendo?
Yeah.
They work so hard to get third parties, and it just looks like it may backfire. We'll do a separate video, but anyway.
Yeah, this is about Xbox, and Xbox is just screwing the pooch at every possible turn. They had everything starting to go for them, but it just goes to show you can't buy your way to number one. They were buying Bethesda, Activision and Blizzard, Obsidian Entertainment, the people who do Outer Worlds, Ninja Theory. They were buying some incredible studios. They wanted the initiative to be like Retro Studios, and it just seems like one folly disaster after another followed suit. I want to be more optimistic about the future of Xbox, but it just seems that Microsoft's probably going to quit making systems after their next one if it don't sell great.
Well, see, Michelle, here's the bad thing though. Their next system is going to be all digital, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a percentage of people that want physical.
Me.
Yeah, me. And people understand with indie developers because they can't afford to ship out tons of copies through physical with manufacturing and stuff. But if you do it on digital, all you gotta do is just get your game on there and you get 70% of the profits and stuff.
No offense, Marvel seems to do a pretty good job of them.
They're not as small though as a company like Team Cherry or somebody like that, you know.
I know, but look what game, Room Factory, this just doesn't sell 1,000 or two. They make some.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you know. I'm talking about indie developers. A lot of them don't make enough money, you know.
No, that's true.
So people aren't mad about that. You know, it's the bigger games where people are like, can you give me a choice, please?
Yeah.
You know, with digital and physical. And see, Microsoft is starting to take that choice away from people because they really thought Game Pass was going to be the Netflix of video games, and it blew up in their face. So now they got to think of something, and they just don't know what to do. Whether y'all like it or not, this ideal of no console wars anymore, and this is what people want. They want you to all go to PC, so that way people can steal games on a whim, and yeah, emulation is theft. And, you know, like, they want everybody to go to PC. That's what they want. That's not going to happen. A lot of people like their little ecosystem. They don't want to interact with Sony and Microsoft fans if you're Nintendo, or if you're Sony, you don't want to interact with Nintendo or Microsoft fans. You know, a lot of people do. They like their solitude. They like being a part of a community, and there's not going to be the death of consoles. For all you people who want it to happen, you're going to have to be holding your breath for a long time. So Microsoft, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are not going to help the situation by laying off more people. And according to their internal records, real quick, Shuntaro Furukawa makes less than $2 million a year, and Miyamoto barely makes over $1 million a year. That is what Nintendo does that a lot of other companies should follow suit on. No one person should get like $1 billion a year, or 100 million, or 80 million.
And you know, I don't mean to throw politics into this, but I'm like Bernie Sanders. Billionaires should not exist.
Yeah.
Really, they shouldn't. I'm sorry.
Because they don't do all the work.
Nope.
You know, they get other people to do it for them. So, Microsoft, you guys really blew it. And that's going to be less competition for Nintendo and Sony. But especially Sony, because they look at Microsoft as the other dedicated hardware company.
Right, and see though, here's the thing. Sony got caught off guard by Nintendo. So instead of having to worry about Microsoft and Nintendo, now really all they have to worry about is Nintendo.
Yeah, and that, I don't know. I hope prices don't continue to go up and stuff. You know, because that happens a lot when you have less competition.
Well, Michelle, I agree with you on that factor, but we also have to count in the fact, dun da da da, Orange Hitler man, Trump.
Yeah,
and his tariffs.
And by the way, if y'all love this video, subscribe and ring the notification bell. It really helps out. But anyway, to wrap up the video, there was a time that I loved Microsoft. And I actually did like the Xbox brand, but not anymore. Too many layoffs, too many mishandled games. And another person you all need to blame besides Phil Spencer is Ken Lobbs. He's head of creative at Microsoft. So a lot of these projects got to get greenlit through him before they can, you know, get properly funded and started, and, you know, how it's going to be, what kind of games to make. And yet, he still has a job. How?
Exactly.
How does he still have a job? He left Nintendo because he said he wanted to move up to Nintendo president. Nintendo hit the jackpot with Reggie.
Yeah.
And even Doug Bowser would make a better president than Reggie did. Or Doug Bowser makes a better president than Ken Lobbs.
Oh, absolutely.
Because how are you doing, Ken? You haven't done nothing. Somebody missed projects and everything, mishandled. A lot of that comes down to the head of creative. And that's what you are at Microsoft of America. We're going to do another video about this because Microsoft really screwed up in a lot of places. They really did. But as far as now goes, this is really just not a good time for Microsoft, their fans, and the Xbox brand. Unlike Nintendo, who hired people, their CEOs took a pay cut and Nintendo restructured. That just doesn't seem to be what Microsoft is doing. They think laying people off and everything is going to be the answer. It's not. This is me, Michelle Nantucket.
And this is Sean.
Have a good one. Thank you for staying to the end of the video and watching it. If you like all of our videos, don't you join our other social medias like TikTok, Discord, Reddit, Instagram, Thread, X, and our WordPress blog. You can also support us by joining Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you will get exclusive content, uncut videos, behind the scenes, watch that trailer, Jack's joke of the week, and my sports input. If you join the $25 tier, I will send you an autographed copy of The Buzzies for free. If you love horror movies and independent content, we're a great place to come and visit because we love supporting other independent creators and stuff. When you support us, you're supporting people who do all of this by ourselves. Me, Michelle, I'm the editor, I'm the director of the videos, I'm the producer, Sean's the executive producer and content creator. So thank you everybody, and please look into supporting our Patreon, as it really does help out. Just $1 a month. Thank you and have a wonderful day.